Hello, how we doing? Really excited about this episode here. So we've got Darrion Weems checking in. So Weems is actually a personal friend of mine. He's from New Orleans, actually played with me at the Cowboys. Super brilliant person. And I think the best way that I would probably describe him is a renaissance man. Weems was an all-world tackle when he played in the NFL. He was superstar despite being undrafted. Was able to manage to have a really good career, but then he left. Kind of towards the beginning of the crescendo of his career to go off and do real estate, and then ultimately start writing scripts, like literally scripts that get purchased by Netflix. He's working on something really cool right now. Not only that, but he's also interested in entrepreneurship through acquisition, and he's buying companies. So a mini mogul, not mini because he's like 6'5", 300 pounds, but an amazing brother. And I can't say enough about him, really. And that's why we have the podcast. I think it's going to be a really exciting episode. I think you all enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in to Something Like the Offseason. I'll speak to you soon. All right, first question. Tell me about the time that you knew, whether it be in high school or college, that you were destined for the next level.
In high school, I was just better than everybody, bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, smarter. So, what I'm saying? From an offensive line perspective, and I played in the city section, I'm really, uh, my defensive ends are like, 5'11", 240, what I'm saying? I was just built different, right? And so I knew then, I was like, oh, I'm gonna probably make it to college. Like, and I went to Taft, which was a football kind of a powerhouse for a public school back then. And we had a lot of recruiters coming through. And so, at that time, I just knew. Now, in college, going to the NFL, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, bro. It's like, I was nice, but I never had that. I never thought I would be good enough to do that. And so it just was one of those things where when it happened, I was just shocked. Like I was just working towards it, grinding, undrafted, no money, uh, no signing bonus. Like it's a whole different thing. They might let you go because you sneeze wrong, right?
Come
Like
on.
I don't like the way Micah sneezed in the meeting room, bro. We got to get rid of him. Bring in another guy, please.
Just
Right?
the way he sneezed, I don't. It's not good for morale. So I don't know.
Eh, you know what I'm saying? So, in college it was kind of different, and luckily I was on a good team, and we played well, and so that kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of go and showcase some things. But I couldn't have called it going to the league, honestly.
Wow, that's dope. But you were, if I'm not mistaken, you're like top 100, top 250 coming out of high school. You weren't thinking L?
I mean, everyone's thinking L, right? In high school, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Everyone's thinking L in high school. Like, there's no, you just so much better than everybody. Like, if you able
Right,
to go and play college football anywhere, then you were better than like 99.9% of the people in your area, right? And
right.
so it's like I'm him. You know what I'm saying? I'm the greatest tackle that ever walked this earth, right? I'm sure you was walking around like prime. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You
come
just
on,
knew,
come
right?
on.
So I was good and I was called in, but then you get to to college and it's you start coming up against a couple guys
Well, you
that's
already
like
know.
that too.
That's where we're
Yeah.
going. That's where we're going right
You
now.
know what I'm
Question number
saying?
2. Who was the toughest matchup that you had in high school, college, or the L?
In college, we played USC a couple times, once a year. There was a dude, he played for the Vikings for a while. He was cold, defensive
Mm.
end. He's like 6'4", 270. He used to cover punts
Was that
for
Everson? Was that Everson Griffin?
Everson Griffin. And
Crazy.
my dog had a
He
list,
was
and
a
we almost
gunner.
fought outside Skate World, right? Like he was, you know what I'm saying? And this is in high school. My dog pressed me, so we almost threw hands, but the people kept us solid. They kept us apart. Uh, and, but then we became boys. You know what I'm saying? We pressed some frat
Right.
dudes when I was at a frat party at SC. My one of my best friends went to SC, so me and Ev became cool. But
Nice.
Everson was nice. I never gave up a sack against them. I'm gonna give you categories of players actually for this, right?
Okay.
So
Come on.
there was like an Everson Griffin, Cole. There was a dude that plays for the Steelers still, interior defensive lineman, went to Ohio
Hayward.
State.
Hayward.
Yo, this man. Actually, that might be the time I've felt most outmatched as a man in life, right?
Wow.
Like, cause he was stopping double team. You know how he
Yeah.
was just looking like, and we
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
little Pac-12 offensive lineman. We working hard and shit, and he just he looking like, let me shed you, make the tackle, let me
Violent.
and make
Yeah.
the tackle. Yeah. He was a monster. Then there's Cam Jordan from
Who
he went to
that?
Cal. Cam
Yep.
Jordan, yep, Saints guy, super cold. Went to Cal.
Legend.
One
Hall of
of the
Famer.
toughest, yeah, one of the toughest matchups I ever had. And then
Everything.
I only gave up 3 sacks in college, and most of them were early. Um, Actually, no. One of them was early. So I gave up a sack like my first year playing, and then
Right.
I gave up 2 sacks my last year. It was some trash, but they changed the way the protections was, and I had to read too much. But you know what I'm saying? That's why I wasn't feeling confident about the L's. I was like, damn, I gave up 3 sacks in college. I'm not the GOAT, bro. What are we doing? Right. But they had a dude named Ryan Kerrigan whenever
From Purdue.
yeah.
Who went to the Redskins? I mean the
Yeah,
Commanders now. Yeah.
that, yeah, them. Right. And so I say them dudes, like, that was just a category of players that were just cold, right? And I was a good, solid, strong player. But then you go up against a Cam Jordan, you like, wow, this is very difficult. You go up against a Iron, what's his name, Iron Hayward, right? I didn't even realize how good he was. I just saw him on TV like 2 years ago, and they talking about he gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I was like, bro, I remember you. You was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know when you're in the city every now and then, someone walk up to you and they be like, "Oh, Michael, man, but I remember you. You was, I was him. I was that to him, right, on TV. Like, bro, I remember you. You was the coldest." So, yeah, that's probably,
That's dope. That's
that's my
dope.
piece there, fam.
Fair enough. Okay. Next we're here. Who was the player that you played with or played against that you thought should have went to college, league potentially, and just never got the opportunity?
It was a dude I played high school ball with. His name was Sheldon Banks. He was like a linebacker slash running back. And when I tell you, this dude was so cold, right?
Yeah.
Because we had Malcolm Smith, ends up going on being Super Bowl MVP, all of that stuff. Great player, right? No big deal. Top five, T House. But we had a dude named Shelton Banks who was super explosive, like the type of dude who would take it for 87, like on a little toss, like, ooh, excuse me, break a couple
Yeah.
tackles, I'm gone. And he talking shit too, right? That was always my favorite. I like when dudes talk shit because I can't really play sports and be humble and shit. Like you gotta feel me and I gotta feel you. If you're not
Oh,
talking no shit to me, I'm like out of my game. I'm like, damn, does he think I'm weak? He not even talking no shit to me, bro. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Uh, but he was just cold like that, bro. And he, on defense, he could guard everybody. Like, he was guarding receivers, he was tight ends, backs out the backfield. He's thumping stuff. He was probably a little undersized, right? But honestly, as many undersized guys as you see running around the league now, it's like it's no
yeah.
reason why he
The
couldn't
league
have.
kind of shifted to that. Yeah. Like a
Yeah,
6'2",
like
220 linebacker could play. Yeah.
yeah, and is almost preferred in some instances now because they need him to cover a lot of these
Mhm.
weird, spread offenses. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Sheldon Banks, man.
Shout out to
Shouts to
Shelton
my man.
Banks. Shout out to Shelton Banks, man. Much respect. We want to give you your flowers.
Yeah,
Next thing,
man.
what is the nicest thing that a coach has done for you?
Man, coach you, right? Yeah. The thing with foot, and I just had this conversation with this business seller, right? And we talked deeply about football and the role that it plays in a lot of communities and the role that it could play for a young man, bro. And
Right.
it's like, if, you know, when you have a coach who cares at any level, it changes your life,
Yep.
actually, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and like for me, I had, when I first started playing football, Coach Mike, he like made me play football, bro. He was like, no, bro, you gotta, he's like, you have no idea. You gotta play football. I was a weird, like anime and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Reading too many books and shit, right? And he's like, no, bro, listen, I get that. I understand your vision, bro. That's dope. But you need to come kick set, right? You need to come and you need to block some people. And and hassled me for a year until I went to go play. And then I got to, I went to Taft, had a great coach. Shouts out to Coach Starr. I go to college, man. Coach Greatwood, just a great coach, bro. Like cared
It's the
about me,
O-line.
O-line coach, right? Cared about me, really like invested in like my personal growth, right? Like, because I had a whole lot of, things going, when I was
Yep.
young and,
Yep. Yep.
I didn't come from the most stable environment. And so, it was some extra shit with me sometimes. And my mom would be calling, cursing him out. And then he'll make me roll when she'll call him and curse him out, because my mom's wild. So she'll call him. She'd be like, I heard it's a MRSA outbreak on campus. You better make sure my son, da, 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 right? And so he'll come to practice and I'll be walking out and he'll just look at me and just go like this, like it make me roll. We get there, right? Uh, Great coach, cared about me. But then in the L's, bro, like Coach Callahan, bro, and Mike Wojcik, man, I in many ways I owe my career to those two people, right? Like bought my mom my house, got the financial ability to do everything I'm doing now, right? It's like them two dudes, man. Coach Callahan, I remember the first day he liked me a lot, but he's working with me after practice. I get there, we can do the practice. I come like at the end of the year, and he works with me after practice for about 20 minutes, and I just remember he was shocked looking at me. He's like, "Hey, can you do all that over here too? Okay, let's see. Oh, let's do it." He was like, "Oh, bet." He's like,
We
"Go on
got
in there.
one.
You go,
We got
yeah,
one.
yeah, right. You're gonna be straight, young man, right?" And then, Mike Wojcik, that man worked out with me every day, bro. Like me, right? It wasn't like oh, go in and get your sheet. He was like, no, look, Weems, we need to do these. Look, we need to make sure you're a better football player. Oh, what you doing Friday night don't matter. Saturday morning, being here at 6:30, we lifting, bro, right? And it was like that for some years,
I
bro.
love
And like,
Coach Mike. Yeah.
man, that's my dude, bro. And he really
Awesome. He was amazing.
one of the best people I ever met, bro. Because he didn't have to
Oh, yeah.
do that, bro. Like he was showing up to the weight room to work out with me in the off season every day, and it's just me and him, right?
I love that man. He's awesome.
And then he'll have the jokes for you too. Like he used to call all the offensive linemen, he'd call us fats. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, "Yeah, you're fat, Weems. Yeah, I'm just gonna call you fat." He sees me out when I first meet Diana. We out at the GNC. I'm trying to get some protein. He walks up on me and he's like, "Hello, miss. I wasn't sure you understood. This is a fat man. You're a chubby chaser for this, right?" And I'm like dying, right? And then he just gives me a pat and he's like, "Nah, Weems is one of the best dudes ever, right?" But he really strolls up with that like Iron Mike scowl, and he's like, "Miss, do you understand? This is a fat man you're with, and you're a chubby chaser for doing so, right?" And then we joke it out, but yeah, Iron Mike, man, one of the best. Coach Callahan, one of the best. Also, man, there's no like Coach Callahan. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame one day, just in terms of like,
I think everybody on that O line made an active roster from like what I remember from those Dallas years. Like everybody.
yes, bro,
Like
yes,
like everybody.
every
Everybody.
a gang of them went on to like get contracts and get
That's what I'm saying.
buku. Yeah, like it was a crazy situation, and he did that. I didn't realize until like I didn't truly know who I was dealing with until I got older. When you're young, you just surviving. But I looked back at that man's career, and he did that everywhere he went, bro. Right, everywhere he went, the Jets. You know what I'm saying? He was when he was in Oakland punching us out, like the whole situation, bro. This man was just that kind of guy, and so I respect Callahan and Iron Mike. Them was my guys.
No doubt. There we go. There we go. All right, we're shooting to the next part. You get done playing ball. First off, I think it's important to note that you had a very interesting situation where it wasn't like the phone wasn't ringing.
Mm-hmm.
Stopped. Maybe, and this is, people, seeing this right now. They're like, Darrion Weems, like, oh yeah, we know he was nice. Like people who played with you, people who played against you know you were nice. You're a guy, we had the same agent. You're a guy who was kind of in line or had the potential to sign one of those kind of big time left tackle
Mm-hmm.
contracts. Maybe talk through what was going on with your mind, why you did it. You know what I mean? What was going on there when you made that decision?
Bro, I just in many ways I kind of got burnt out on the game. Keep it 100 with you,
Mm.
and it had turned into such like a political thing, like especially because I made a decision and I was like, man, I got to get away from the Cowboys because I don't think I'm ever really gonna be able to crack this roster. Like, it's at least three
Tyron
Hall of
Smith,
Famers here.
Doug Freeze,
Yeah,
crazy.
you know what
It's
I'm
crazy.
saying? It's at least three Hall of Famers here. All these gonna be in the Ring of Honor one day, right? At AT&T Stadium. It's like I don't think I'm
Right.
ever gonna crack this lineup. And so I made the decision and I go elsewhere. And the dudes were like Rudy Poo, right? And and I'm probably
Respectfully. Respectfully.
respectfully. It's always respectfully. I had
Yeah.
this thing in my mind where it's like, and even today, the NFL is comprised of like 15% of like they are great. About another 20-30% of like, oh, these
Right.
guys, good, and then everyone else kind of trash, right? And so,
Yeah.
and it just
Just
is
keep
what
it
it
being.
is. Yeah, and so a lot of they did not have the best offensive line, and you know for some reason they cut me after this kind of perilous. I'm I'm petty, bro. I left the game like fuck y'all, man, bro. If I can't crack out, it's whatever, bro, and I'm out. And there was some health stuff involved too. Like I got a bad concussion my last year, and it really kind of, I was like, man, if they not trying to give me the bag, I'm not about to keep for 350 grand after taxes. That's crazy. Like I can make some money, bro. Like, y'all, wow. Right? Like, I'm gone. And
Any
so, yeah.
any thought once you make that decision, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't care about this. You know what I mean? Like in every like rom com, it's like they break up and then they're like, you know what? Let me pick up this
Mm.
phone. Was there ever a moment, like a fleeting moment, like as you felt yourself drifting away from the game, like and the permanence of all of that, to say like, oh, hey, well, hold on, let me try to get back. Try to get back in here. Never.
Never once. My
Why
wife
is that?
used to ask me all the time. She would be like, do you miss a game? I'm like, not at all.
Right.
I think I'm just the type of dude who, like, when especially when I shift my mind and like focus on something else, it's like I'm focused on this new thing. Like that thing is like old to me. People be asking me about football all the time, and I be forgetting sometimes. Like, yeah, I did play football. That's crazy, right? Like I forgot that I was in the NFL, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I forget that fact, bro. Right? Like I was in the NFL and played there for a while and could have played there for a lot longer had I wanted to. And I
Right.
and but the way my brain works is just like I don't even it's not even an important fact to me, right? Because that doesn't define like who I am. The dopest thing that thing taught me is like dreams come true, right? And so it's
Ooh.
like, you know, so now I got these new ass dreams, right? And we be checking shit off the bucket list all the time, and we be
Oh,
doing shit, and like and in many ways, I think that's what it should be for a lot of people. I've come across, I'm sure you've come across guys too who maybe left the game or didn't leave it on the terms they wanted to, or and maybe they don't do as well with the transition, and they don't do as well mentally and with their mental health, bro. And I think it's because it's like the game is who they are instead of the game was just a thing that they wanted and achieved. And the understanding that their skill set is like super transferable, right,
Yeah.
to everything else that the world revolves around, right? And so, yeah, I never once really looked back, and it was kind of crazy. I remember I made the decision, and I'm sitting there and I'm chilling, and I told Diana, and I told her I was some nonchalant. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play no more. And I think she thought I was fucking around, right? Like she like, oh, and the phone going crazy, like Mook calling me. We got 8 offers. Like, where you want to go? It's on you, brother. You can do whatever type shit. And I'm like, nah, I think I'm good, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I'm solid. And I
Yeah.
never really looked back, bro.
That's crazy. The thing I want to touch on is you talked about, I really like basically articulating that you had a new dream. You realize that dreams can come true, and maybe that, your this dream or vision you have for your life isn't singular, right? And it's like it can
Hmm.
exist in different ways. You then go on, you were doing the real estate stuff, which I feel like is like ex football player like 101. I feel like
For
anybody who's
sure.
playing ball you have to flip at least one house or buy
Yeah.
one house. I feel like everybody's done that.
100.
But then you but then you get in the film, and not just not being in front of the camera, but actually like writing full-fledged scripts,
Hmm.
movies. To talk me through, how does that happen?
Well, I grew up in part in LA. I grew up in between LA and New Orleans, right? As you know.
Best city in the world.
And yeah, you know what I'm saying? And when you from LA, it's probably just like being, like how people in Texas look at oil, certain
Yeah.
industry.
Or
It's
New
just
York
like
and
one of
banking.
those things, 100%. It's just like one of those things that's hella accessible and hella like it's there. Like, and I grew up, you know, creative and
Yeah.
wanted to tell stories. And I remember, my grandfather used to tell me all these stories, because my grandparents used to smoke hella weed, right? And so they'll be at the crib and they'll be, it's a smoky scene and they sitting there chilling. And I would just be telling these stories, bro, all night, like
Yeah.
going crazy. And my grandfather would be like, dang, that's he'll be going crazy. Man, what about this? And he used to be egging me on, like, man, you really
Come
need you a
on.
little
Come
character, like,
on.
bow, bow, right? And we used to do that, man. And so, I had this kind of raw desire to just kind of want to tell those kind of stories. And I hopped out and out of the game, and like you said, started doing some real estate stuff. And I guess through that, we actually sold a real estate show, right? Like the way my
Right.
brain was working, right? It was like, oh, we flipping these houses, bro. Let's make a TV
Right.
show, right? Like,
Come on.
right. And so, nigga, and fuck it, what a camera costs, right? Let's go buy
What's
a
up?
camera. Like, let's figure it out. Like, that's me. That's who I am, right? Let's figure it out. We don't want, you know.
All right.
And so, we shoot a couple of lumps and we write a couple of lumps, and then we start sending this thing around. And like, really, in not that much time, Warner Brothers, hits us with the, little money. And wanted to do a thing with it, and it didn't end up going anywhere truly, but that was kind of my first little taste of like, oh damn, you can it's actually not even that crazy to like sell a show or sell a thing. And so now I'm focused because I was kind of more unscripted. Right now
Right.
I'm focused more just like raw storytelling. Like, I wrote a recently I wrote like a sports heist movie that I'm super excited about. It's like Ocean's 11 meets Any Given Sunday. A group
Woo!
of group of guys colludes to kind of heist this team as they're selling it to this billionaire who runs. Yeah, it's okay, but getting some solid feedback from all of my writer friends, and as you know, we're on strike, so I can't really do too much with it, but I do feel confident about that, and just in my ability to like tell stories. Like to me, the greatest thing now is like I just be leaning into like me as best I
Right.
can. Like I have this singular vision. It's like, oh man, I want $100 million portfolio of businesses. We're doing 100 million of revenue a year, and
Come on.
I'm winning me an Emmy, a prime time though, not like
Come on.
the Emmy that
Come on.
everybody gets. Like,
Come on.
give me a
Come
prime
on.
time guy. right? Maybe I'm gonna cross over get an Oscar. It's like, I played in NFL, bro. Like dreams come true, my. So it's like
Right.
all this shit possible. So, and even if I fall short, right? So if I fall short, damn, Hulk only got to do 50 million in revenue. Damn, you know what I'm saying? I had to get a regular Emmy, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's really the way my brain like looks at these things, and it really made me start thinking just super long term too. Like, because I realized, and one of my private equity mentors told me this a while back. He's like, yeah, he's like, dang, you need to understand, brother, that things happen in long periods of time. He's like,
Mm,
all these people that you see that are successful, he's like, that's decades, brother. He's like, think about your football success. That's decades, brother,
exactly.
right? And so, I started to orient myself around like, damn, I got to start taking like decade long approaches to things, right? Like, because when I started flipping houses, it was like, oh man, I need some money, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh man, need some long term wealth and happiness type shit, and you know, and this is how I get there, and then I just chip away at this shit
Reverse
over
engineering.
very
Did
long periods of time. Yeah.
Did you have that kind of frame of reference that the private equity guy shared with you, like shortly after you stopped playing ball, or was that kind of like as you were like flipping the houses, getting into like the media stuff, then you met him, or you're trying to figure out like where that information came? Because I think for a lot of people, you and I both know, like a lot of people when they're transitioning from one thing to another, it's the fact that like most people miss the league because they were the best in the world objectively at
Mm-hmm.
something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because it's present, it feels like it happened just now. And to your point earlier, it took like a decade. And it's like we've been
Mm-hmm.
playing, by the time we made it to the league, we were playing football. We were 22, 23, people playing football for 15, 16 years. Like
Exactly.
it's not like we just started practicing this game. When did you start anchoring in the more like long term like perspective? Or like I'm just curious.
I would probably say when COVID set us down, right? And
So
when
recently, kind of.
and yeah, this is like 20, like this is late 2019, early 2020. Like I had my first kid
Yeah,
late 2019, and I actually met my private equity mentor. He's like a friend now. I hate calling him a mentor. That's really my boy, right?
fair.
But he's hit a lot of these goals already, right? And
Right.
like, I'm at a real estate networking thing, and his wife owned a title company, and I'm chopping with her, blowing her ear up about some shit. And she's like, "You need to talk to my husband," like blah blah blah, right? And she slides me in, introduced me,
Right.
and really we just been rocking ever since. Like we just hit it off on such a level, and he's just like a dude like me that like, you know, and you know what it is? He just saw it in me too. He like, oh, this dude, he finna make it.
Means it.
Like,
He means
yeah,
it.
he means it. All the shit he talking, he means it. And so he's like,
Right.
man, let me give you some game. And I'm telling him what I'm doing. And he like, yeah, he's like, I'm not upset at the real estate shit, but like, that flipping shit crazy, blah, blah, blah. He starts talking to me about the implications of all that, like what I'm doing with my money, doing that versus something else. And then he starts introducing me to entrepreneurship through acquisition, right? And I'm like, damn, that's a whole situation, right? And this is around the same time I start blowing you up about some shit, right? And you hit me with the little Harvard Business Review book, right? Changed my life, changed the way I'm looking at shit, right? And then I start reading
Exactly.
some of these, buy then build, right? I start reading some of these things, and it's like, oh, damn. And it's like, then I'd be mad because I'm like, man, y'all had this
Should have.
information the whole time. Like, you didn't tell me, and so, I'm saying late 2019 is really like, when I first got intro to the ideas, and then when I started being like, you know what, I need to just start taking a
Right.
longer term approach to all of this stuff, bro, because that short term thinking is short and it doesn't get you anywhere, right? And I spent a couple years in that.
So if you go back, people, because like sports is just like a metaphor for life, right? This whole like transferable skills, something like the off season, what we're doing here. If you're going back, because you left the league how old were you? 27, 28, like me, I think maybe.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
probably 27. Yeah.
27, 28. What would you have done differently to help prepare you for like the transition, if anything? Like if you feel like, man, I just had to go through it how I went through it, that's fine. I mean, that's maybe a cop out answer, but like what specifically would you have done differently, knowing what you know now, to like better your transition?
I mean, in retrospect, like I always like I wish I would have leveraged and got more wealth while I was in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
And that sounds crazy, but like I could have
yeah.
been loans would have been stupid then, right? Like
Come
you
on,
know it's
come on.
so I would have just been buying more stuff, leveraging more stuff, getting more assets. But I was afraid of all that then, and I didn't have the time because I was so focused on being a good football player. I didn't have the time to like really, and I didn't trust anybody, right? And I think that's probably the hardest part about being a dude that comes from a place like I come from. Uh, it's just hard, and your family don't know, and you learning that like a lot of these dudes out here ain't got your best interest. So really, my thing was like, I just had a fucking savings account full of stupid money, right? Because I didn't know what to do. But I'm like, I'm not gonna spend it, but I'm not ready to hand it off to Eli and them yet. So, um, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think the important thing is to, you know, like I had to go through it. The thing that you said is right. I had to go through it. I had to be hyper focused on that, on football and what that meant. And then I had to get out and figure it out and then learn to be hyper focused on these other things and get the
Mm,
information that comes with being hyper focused and the information that comes with meeting these people and becoming friends with these people and you know what I'm saying, just
right.
learning uh best how to be in the world, bro, right? Because you can't really do everything. And I could go back and I would have bought way more houses and I would have, I would have maybe tried to make a run at a couple of things differently, but my life is fine and so I wouldn't really change
Exactly.
much.
You
Yeah.
win it. You win it. So it sounds like the biggest value add you think you got from football, and you think that like translates well to what you're doing now, is like the ability to hyper focus, right?
Yeah.
So like double clicking on that, hyper focusing what you're doing, writing, and you've already been successful. You've already like sold, sold some of your like writing stuff like that. Talk to me about the ability to create like a new pattern process for how you're doing something that was alien to you, a decade ago. And, something that isn't, once again, like the feedback loop is completely different, right? Like we practice every day when we play with the Cowboys, we practice every day. We watch film every day. You're writing it and effectively in a vacuum, even if you're in a writer's room. I mean, you're writing it yourself, you're getting feedback in what is like a longer loop, right? So how does that impact? Did that impact your ability to create a process? And what are you looking at now to continue to improve your process?
Me personally, I like to ask people questions. Like some people ain't gonna ask for help. I ask for help all the time.
Mm,
I'm the dude that's gonna ask you like if you're 57 and did it, I'm in your shit. Like, hey bro, so wanna get some coffee? Like, let's talk about it. Right? Uh I'm the dude that's on YouTube crazy trying to figure out like, oh, that's dope. Oh, this is I'm the dude that's gonna read the books and listen to the podcast. It's like everything is all the same, bro. Like if you and this is why I think, me and my boy Malcolm, and Malcolm, and we kind of had a conversation about some of these things, and it's like if you a dude who is able to make it to the NFL, bro, literally the sky is the limit because you are one of the people in the world that have been able to be hyper focused and hyper skilled at a particular thing, and all of that shit you can transfer. And so it's like, uh, now it's not gonna happen tomorrow, and this is the thing where everyone gets wrong, bro. Right? Like it ain't gonna happen next
right.
week, bro. But in a
Right.
decade, you gonna be solid, bro. I promise
Yeah.
you, right? In five, right? Like,
Yep.
and again, it's like the problem is people just don't take a long enough time horizon on a lot of their actions, right? And so for me, it's like I understood that it's gonna take a while. I understood that I didn't know anything. I understood that I needed help, and so I just took all
Mm,
that information and hyper focused in the areas that I wanted to learn. It's like, man, I need to make more money. It's like, let me find people who make hella money, buku money. Who making buku money around here, right? You, Matt, what's good? Hit me. What we got? Oh, damn, that's crazy. You said you could do what? Come on, bro, that's crazy. That's cheating. No, it's not. Oh, all right. Oh, uh, you know what I'm saying? And that's really the strategy that I have with life, bro. Like I'm here for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? I got sons. I got to teach them how to be here for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? It's a crisis on masculinity right now. I got to teach them that, you just got to hunker down and grind the fuck out. That's how you get there, bro. Right? And
that
nothing else,
undrafted life will test your spirit.
bruh. Right? And I think that is in part why I be unshakable. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit could happen. I'd be like, come on, man, this is not a thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and me and my wife Diana. So me and her have just like completely opposite fucking. Like she's a stressed out person, like fundamentally, but she's stressed, bro. And like the way that we both handle shit, it's like something will happen and I'm unfazed, bro. Right? Like,
Right.
and not only did all that happen, but then I took a long time. I meditated. I did all this work, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in the NFL, I was not playing, bro. I'm meditating twice a day. It's crazy. My mental health dumb. Right? I'm a monster. Right? And so I have all of that still. Right? And so something happens, it's nothing. Something happens, she's like, oh my God, it's crazy. And I think that that's just the difference between like someone who's actually had to in practice be great, right? Like actually,
Mm,
like it's not like like you said earlier about guys who have the trouble transition. It's like he actually had to be the best in the world, bro, right? And it's like wasn't fucking around. It wasn't like my brother put me on. You know what I'm saying? My mentor knew a dude who owned the firm, so I got to know. Actually, had to be the best in the world, right? And so you have that inside of you, and you can always call on that to go and recreate that, right? And to become now the best in the world at whatever your next thing is. One of my other guys, he saw the logistics. He's going to invest in my deal now. He saw the logistics. He saw half of his company for 450 million, bro, to private equity in which was like 2013, right? He has another kind of freight brokerage, right? I'm sure you understand the model, but my dude says, Darrion, he said, this is why I'm investing in you. One, he said, one, you're an athlete. You did at the highest level. B, I just like you. He says, just so you know, I have this other company. We did 800 million in revenue last year. He said, my CEO is an ex NFL guy. He said, everyone in those prominent positions of this fucking business, they all play college soccer, hoops. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Softball. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
And so it's like,
yeah.
if you out here and you're an athlete and you think, oh, I'm just an athlete, like blah blah blah, then you lame, and you need to pick your head up, and you need to realize the greatness really that you have
Right.
inside of you, right? Because it's
I
there.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So right now you got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. Tell us in the near future something we should be looking out for. We're gonna put in the show notes like all your contact information and whatnot. But what's something we should be on the lookout for? How can we help you? How can we reach out to you if we maybe wanna talk to you? What's going on?
I mean, just hit me on Twitter, bro. I like Twitter.
Mhm.
I'm a Twitter guy. At some point you'll see a fucking smash hit uh film that came from me. At some
Oh,
point, you know, I'm gonna be like, NYPO Beverly Hills or some shit, just for the network, right? Like I don't really care about it, but I pull up just so I can fraternize with a couple of my guys, right? Like, you know, I don't even know what to tell you, like I don't even live my life in that way. Like shit, I'm moving in my direction. And like I told you, like I'm about to buy this this cold chain company, right? And I kind of got another proprietary deal down the pipeline, and I'm gonna do that, right? And ultimately, like I said, man, my goal is $100 million revenue hoco. And I want to have a Emmy prime time, not the everyday one that people, they give 67,000 of them away. Um, you know what I'm saying? And I just, like I want to be fulfilled in my endeavors, bro. And so that stuff is all coming. You know what I'm saying? I can't put a date on it. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on.
Like I
Come
don't know.
on.
It's not
It
gonna happen. Like I
exists now
said,
like it
it ain't
exists tomorrow.
exactly. It ain't gonna be
Right.
next week, bro. But it's gonna happen one day. You'll up and be like, damn, that's that. That's was talking crazy on Micah podcast. Or you're just gonna see the name actually, because I'm not gonna be there. So you're gonna be, it's gonna be you're gonna
Ooh.
watch this crazy ass movie and it's just gonna say written by, and you're gonna be like, oh damn, you're gonna be tapping your wife on the shoulder like, babe, 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 I
I know
seen,
that this
yeah, right. You,
huh?
you know why my soul been so cold lately? Did you
Hmm.
see that Juvie Tiny Desk
Tiny
concert,
desk.
bruh?
What?
Uh, Bruh, I've been on that twice a week, bruh, and it's just like,
Why has that been so inspirational to me? And I was just
bruh,
telling my boy, I don't even know why has that been so motivational to me. That's
Mike, I
crazy.
don't. It's wild, bro.
I
And
don't
when I
know
turn,
why
and
I
my,
feel so inspired watching it.
it's like you seeing all this stuff from when you was a kid, and these songs, and then in some way, because black people, we be feeling sometimes like we don't belong in these spaces, right?
Hmm.
And so, and you just watch Juvie get around, like they brought him back out. Bring back that ass up again one more time, please. For the white lady with the NPR shirt on in the front, like she's dying for this shit, bro. Right?
And
She's
he
like,
gave
oh
it
my,
to him
whoa,
raw.
they, oh, that's
Boy,
right. I
that's
almost started doing the Johnny in the crib, bro. I'm like, come on, bro, what we doing? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think so we be feeling like we don't belong in them spaces, and then you see Juvie do Juvie, and Manny just being on so many
raw.
friends, and then
Raw.
in the back looking like the dudes I went to McMain with the that was in the band, and I'm like, man,
Right,
that's
right,
my
right, right.
people right there, and they
All right.
love it. So it's something like that, man.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, shoot, Weems, appreciate you coming out, man. We really love that you joined the pod. This episode is amazing. You're obviously one of my boys, but also you're like an outstanding individual and trill human being. So, all right, brother.
Of course, brother. You have a good one.